Laurel County leaders and others come together to honor 2 police officers that died last year. And folks in Knott County are remembering a former emergency management director.
Plus, excellent weather ahead as we head toward the weekend. How those temperatures respond to our plentiful sunshine coming up as First at 4 continues.
Mountain News First at 4 continues.
2 Southern Kentucky bridges are being named in honor of 2 officers who died last year serving their community. It came as the result of legislation that passed during this past year's session. WYMT's Phil Pendleton has more on the ceremony in Laurel County.
The 2 bridges being renamed are the ones behind me at exit 41, also exit 38 here. 2 bridges in the London city limits for officers Travis Hurley and Logan Metlock, both who died last year, and there was a resolution that was approved by this past year's General Assembly session. Travis Hurley died in January of last year of COVID-19 complications. He was a 21-year veteran of the London Force, retired, but then returned as a school resource officer and made strong connections with students. Logan Medlock passed away in October after police say a drunk driver crashed into his cruiser. Medlock was posthumously awarded the rank of sergeant. He had received a number of DUI enforcement awards. Police say the night he was killed, he even told other officers he wasn't going to get coffee with them because he was going to find another DUI suspect.
I know that both of these men would never probably like the attention that they're getting today. They were humble. They were always putting other people before themselves and always wanting others to shine. And a lot of times they would take the back seat to things. The
governor's chief of staff, Rodkey Atkins, says he hopes when people travel through this area, they will want to know more about these 2 men and the lives that they served. In Laurel County, Phil Pendleton, now back to you.
Phil, thank you. The signs were installed by the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet. And moving on now, the University of Pikeville is preparing to open its newest office soon, focused on forming futures for the Bears. The Center for Career, Vocation, and Leadership will offer students a well-rounded look into their careers. The idea, born from research and discussions with students, alumni, and more, creates a space to expand on what they learn in the classroom and how they will not only fit but grow into an ever-changing workforce.
We really are trying to help them be able to clearly articulate all of the things that they're learning and how that will then apply to the different jobs that they'll have throughout their lives, not just the job that they get right after they leave the university.
Webb says the center is future focused and will use a developmental model to keep students engaged as they move through their educational journey. One church in Letcher County is hosting a North Carolina organization donating shoes to flood survivors. Samaritans Feet will be bringing 350 pairs of shoes to give away to flood survivors. Church pastor John Holbrook says it's a blessing to have people still coming to volunteer nearly 1 year after the July 2022 flood.
So Samaritans Feet will be here from 9 o'clock to around 4 o'clock tomorrow, and they're giving out 350 pair of shoes. So it's a shoe drive, and it's for all the flooded victims that they're wanting to have a shoe drive for.
Holbrook says the Samaritans Feet program reached out to him about coming to his church after they made a stop in Harlan earlier this summer.
Plenty of sunshine out there this afternoon, and that is a theme that will continue through the weekend and beyond. Comfortable temperatures out there too. 84 in downtown Somerset. The town, or at least the center of town there, looking beautifully green with the beautiful fountain there in the foreground. We'll continue to see temperatures warming in parts. Look at Jonesville, Virginia, 88 degrees. It's 86 in Jacksboro. Otherwise, we're hovering in the low to middle 80s. Even some upper 70s sneaking in. Logan's at 79, Wise at 77, so it is very comfortable outside. Dew points are slowly dropping from the middle middle and upper 60s into the low to middle 60s. And that does make a difference out there when it comes to just how nice the air feels. So that forecast first through the nighttime hours, 80s to start. How about upper 70s? Falling into the mid 60s, even lower 60s in some spots. We'll have to watch some of that valley fog out there heading through tonight. Now, Steve, I'll have the breakdown on when a beautiful weekend sets up shop and how long that sunshine looks to last in a few minutes.
All right, Evan, thank you. Beating the heat is easier said than done, especially if your job requires you to be outside. This week is a hot one for Metro Atlanta. Rachel Aragon is there.
Midtown in mid-July is not just brutally hot. It's busy with outdoor workers making sure the area is in tip-top shape.
We just keep it clean, try to keep the trash down, the trees trimmed up, the streets clean.
Some of the people you'll spot outside working during the hottest days of the year are construction workers and Midtown Alliance's Green Team members.
What I tell them is just drink plenty of water, take shade if you have to.
To beat the heat, Andre Turner says he and his fellow Green Team members plan certain tasks for specific times of the day so they're not under the scorching sun for too long.
We try to basically do the rough things early, like cutting the grass if it's not a shaded area. Try to take care of that first thing in the morning before it gets hot.
Midtown Alliance says a group of about 8 Green Team members are out cleaning and sprucing up Midtown during the day. But Andre makes it clear to his coworkers their #1 job on hot days like today is to make sure they stay healthy and hydrated.
You want to jeopardize your health out here. Just be safe. You know, if you feel dizzy, fainted, lightheaded, just notify me and I can kind of get you straightened out.
Rachel Aragon, Atlanta News First.
Record-breaking temperatures are threatening bee populations in the Southwest. Ashley Paredes from our sister station in Phoenix has more now on how beekeepers are protecting them in Arizona.
If you look really close, you can see her tongue.
Just like any living creature, bees can only tolerate so much heat, especially in Arizona, and record-breaking conditions.
This is sugar water. It's a food source, supplement food source, and then this is regular water.
Studies have indicated extreme heat is leading to a decline in bees. That's why beekeeper Connie Moore is doing all she can to protect them.
All of mine have screen bottom boards. Allows for lots of airflow. They'll use a gallon of water a day sometimes, if not more. Yeah, just trying to cool, and not consuming it, but cooling off the hive and all that stuff.
She is the owner of Honey Hive Farms in Peoria, where right now she is taking some of her bigger colonies and making them smaller, placing them in shaded areas.
We pulled bees off and basically made what we call nukes, a nucleus baby colony. Just to kind of help dissipate that heat, less bodies in that house.
Unfortunately, even with precautions, the heat impacted a colony at her new farm, meaning they lost nearly 30,000 bees. She says even losing one is devastating.
If they die off, we are in big trouble. That impacts our whole food system. Not just that, but they are beneficial because obviously they're the only ones that make honey. Honey is used not just for consumption, but it's also used for sometimes wound care.
But there are things you can do to help.
The best way to keep bees cool is to leave out a bucket of water for them and put it in the same location. That way they know where to go. It's also helpful if you use a floating device, place it inside the water. That way if they fall in, they're able to climb back out.
Connie is passionate about what she does, holding courses on beekeeping and educating the younger generation.
Now, to create honey, it takes a whole lot of effort.
Holding presentations to show people why bees are important and how good their honey tastes.
That is good.
Ashley Paredes, ABC 15, Arizona.
After nearly 3 decades, the murder of a New Hampshire woman has finally been solved. Laura Kempton was killed in her apartment in 1981. Now, with the help of new DNA technology, investigators have identified her killer.
So, of course, when we can finally resolve these cases and we can finally sit down with victims' family, provide them some sense of closure or knowing, hopefully that will provide some relief.
Investigators say they are still pursuing 130 cold, unsolved cases in New Hampshire. The governor of New Jersey has announced he is suing the Federal Highway Administration. Phil Murphy says New York City's decision to charge drivers according to how many are on the road at any given time negatively impacts the environment. It's called congestion pricing.
Unfortunately, New York's proposal will prompt toll shopping, where more drivers seek circuitous routes to avoid paying the highest tolls, resulting in more traffic and more pollution.
The announcement came on the same day some of the new toll scanners were installed in the New York metro area. With the release of the film Oppenheimer this weekend, the granddaughter of the man who developed the atomic bomb is reflecting on his legacy. Brett Forrest reports.
The atomic bomb was developed in New Mexico with the Manhattan Project, led by J. Robert Oppenheimer. But Nevada also plays an important, controversial, and lasting legacy when it comes to the atomic age.
Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds. I suppose we all thought that one way or another.
After the Manhattan Project and the Trinity explosion and World War II, the federal government started looking for a wide swath of land where they could continue to do atomic testing because the world had changed.
President Truman approved the Nevada test site in December 1950. A month later, the first atom bomb was detonated in the desert. Over 900 nuclear weapons were tested in Nevada, both above and below ground, for the next 40 years. The nuclear fallout from these tests led to health and environmental concerns. Tens of thousands of downwinder compensation claims have been filed and approved over the years.
And there are multiple sides to the atomic story, and part of that is fallout from above ground testing.
The test site is just 65 miles northwest of Las Vegas. The casinos were concerned the testing would affect gambling operations, but the mushroom clouds soon became an attraction.
Las Vegas could sell anything. Wait, we can turn this into a tourism event. We'll have viewing parties from the hotel, from the roof of the hotel. We'll have Miss Atomic Bomb contest. And so Las Vegas has always been good at selling the sizzle, and boy did they sell the sizzle with atomic testing.
Oppenheimer's granddaughter now lives in Boulder City. She works at the Nevada test site as a technical writer, viewing her grandfather as a patriot.
I see it as something that was necessary at the time and that we are still living with as a legacy today because nuclear weapons are still around and still of concern.
Saying his legacy should be remembered as heroic and he should not be villainized.
Back here in eastern Kentucky, one county is mourning the loss of a man who served folks for many years. 54-year-old Jeff Combs of Ambergy died on Thursday after a battle with cancer. Combs was a Shriner, Mason, former EMT, firefighter, and most recently served as the Knott County Emergency Management Director. But folks say he will be remembered most as a family man.
Before anything, Jeff was a father. Before he was a Shriner or before he was a Mason, a firefighter, he was a family person, and he took great pride in his children and not great-grandchildren, but his children and grandchildren, and just the accomplishments that they had made in their lives.
Others describe Combs as a true humanitarian and the definition of a public servant. We'll have more on the legacy he leaves behind tonight at 6. But coming up next on First at 4, this week's Powerball jackpot was not the only way to win and strike it rich this week.
And we have a fantastic forecast setting up as we head toward the weekend. Yes, even with these showers trying to move into the Commonwealth. I'm breaking it all down after this.